Hi there, so if this is your first time watching me, my name is Jen and I make videos about basically anything that interests me and that are also trending, because you know we all want to watch those trending videos, right? So if you are interested in that kind of videos, please subscribe. And also this video is about keto diet, so just a little disclaimer, I am in no way giving you advice about keto diet, whether you should do it or not. I am just simply sharing my experience with you all. And yeah, so if you want to know more about the keto diet that I did with my partner for 7 days, so a week, then just keep on watching. Also, if this top is looking a little bit dodgy, that's because it's not even an off-the-shoulder top, okay? So one of the straps just keeps coming down, and I thought, you know what, I'll just put both of them down so it kind of looks like an off-the-shoulder, because one shoulder just wants to have its moment and I'm not going to let that happen. It has to be equal, so equal opportunity here. All right, let's get started. Okay, so what is a ketogenic diet, or keto for short? It's basically a diet where you eat as little or to no carbs. Well, I don't know if that's possible, no carbs, because there's still carbs in, you know, like vegetables and things like that. But anyway, the main point is for you to consume as little amount of carbohydrates as possible. So you know, you're basically cutting a lot of carbs, sugar, and things like that, so that you can start to lower your carbohydrates I guess storage. And once that runs out, it then taps into your ketones that are made in your liver. So basically when your glucose level is very low, and you no longer are able to use that as a source of energy, it triggers your liver to produce ketones that are then used as a source of energy instead of our normal glucose or carbs. So in short, basically, or in a nutshell, a keto diet or a ketogenic diet is basically a high fat, low carbs diet. So in saying high fat, obviously the fat has to come from like really wholesome and like nutritious fat, you know, like olive oil and like fat from nuts, fish and things like that. There is also that dirty keto that people are doing, and you know, basically they call it dirty keto, where they're still in keto diet, right? And some of them are still burning, you know, so some of them are still losing weight obviously through burning fat, but their fat source is not coming from a good source. Like they're getting their fat through you know, burgers, you know, eating just the patty and the cheese and things like that, like highly processed fats or fats from takeaway food that are obviously not going to be good fats for you. So although they might still be losing some weight, I don't think it's a good idea to be getting your fats, which is obviously the majority of your diet, through highly processed foods. So that's just my 2 cents on it. Okay, so I don't want to blab on too much about what is keto. A lot of people probably know what keto is. If you're watching this video, I'm pretty sure that you're interested in what it is, and you've probably done, you know, your own research and read articles and studies and probably watched a lot of videos about it, just like what I did before actually doing a keto diet. But basically there are different types of ketos. I'll leave it to you to, you know, do your own readings on it and find out what they are and which one's more suitable for you, because you know, keto diet, it is not just like a one straight keto diet. There are different types of keto diet as well. So we just did like the standard keto diet, where we wanted to minimize and really lower the amount of carbohydrates that we were taking on a daily basis. And man, we were taking a lot of carbohydrates. Like I didn't even realize how much carbs I was having until we went on keto, obviously, because everything that was high in carbs you had to just like chop off from our, you know, diet. All right, so let's get into the nitty-gritty of this. Why did we do keto? So sorry, I'm just sitting on the floor. This is just a very casual talk between me and whoever's watching, I guess. Why did we do keto? We wanted to do keto because I personally have been exercising for the last month, and there was just little changes. Like there wasn't much happening, and I was getting frustrated because I feel like I was training so hard, but my diet was like in and out, you know what I mean? I mean by not In and Out burgers, but didn't have In and Out burgers in Australia, but in and out of like good food, bad food, good food, bad food. That was like every single day, you know, every day I was having good and bad food. So that's why we started doing keto diet. So basically we did it cold turkey as well. It wasn't like we were, you know, easing into it. We just went, okay, let's go into keto diet for 7 days. You know, people are doing it, they're seeing results. We want to kind of get that result as well as quickly as possible. So I prepared our meals, and I tried my best to educate myself on, you know, what's low carbs, what's high carbs. And being on keto diet, I'm telling you, there's a lot of food that you cannot eat. I mean, I eat a lot of vegetables, and I do love vegetables, but in saying that, I also eat a lot of not so good food, just like what I was saying earlier. And even with being on keto, you know, you think that's such a healthy diet, but there are a lot of like fruits and vegetables, especially fruits that that we couldn't have during that 7 days because they're high in fructose, so they're high in sugar, and obviously we had to cut those off for 7 days at least. You know, there was vegetables, even vegetables like corn and you know, tomato and things like that, that's obviously a little bit more in a like high carb or high sugar content that we couldn't have. And I love corn, and I just couldn't believe, like, you know, that corn can be such high in carbs. Like, I was really baffled by it. So that's a good thing with being on keto. You do go out of your comfort zone, you know, from what you normally eat, from what you think is healthy, and then you realize, oh, okay, well, if I had 5 corn cobs a day, that's a lot of carbs and probably a lot of sugar as well. So even though they are really good for you, if you have it in excess, then, you know, it might be hindering your ability to lose weight, or to, you know, just gain muscles, or whatever it might be that you're trying to do. So just being a little bit more knowledgeable about what you're putting in your body, I guess. So for the first 3 days of being on keto, I was feeling not myself. I was feeling weak, dizzy, and I did read about the keto flu, so I feel like I did go through that as well for, you know, a few days of it. And I felt like a lot of the things that I was reading about being on keto was that not having to feel hungry, and that was a good thing about it, is not having to feel hungry all the time. You know, they're always full. And for the first 3 or 4 days, I was like always hungry. I'm like, what is this? I want to eat. I've just finished eating, and then I want to eat some more. And I was eating because I was still hungry, but I was just eating more keto food. So I was eating a lot, and there's probably a lot of calories that's going in me, and therefore I could most likely still gain weight, because, you know, more calories in, less calories out will still, you know, make you gain weight, whether if you're on keto or not, right? And you know what, I wasn't being sure if we actually hit ketosis. Like, I don't know if we were in, I felt like we did, you know, because again, it was hard for us to make sure that we're always eating a low amount of carbs, because it gets really hard. Not because we wanted to eat carby food, if that is even a word, not because of that, but because there's some food that we thought was low in carbs, without having to read the labels and things like that. You know, we consumed it, but that's obviously my fault for being ignorant about, you know, foods that are high in carbs. So again, the good thing about what we went through being in keto was that we were able to I guess be more knowledgeable on the nutrients and the macros of foods that was, you know, that we were eating. But yeah, it was hard to figure out what to eat every single day. Like, every day had to be planned, you know, like you had to think of what you're gonna eat, otherwise, you know, you'll end up grabbing something that's probably high in carbs, because there's so many things that's high in carbs, you know. It's crazy. And you will make mistakes, especially if you're just starting off. You will make mistakes. You know, if you were just going by your own knowledge, I made mistakes, heaps and heaps of mistakes, but that's okay. You'll learn from it, and you'll get to know the foods and the nutrients, whether it's high in carbs or not high in carbs. Okay, so let's talk about gym performance, or, you know, exercising. Throughout that 7 days, I think we did exercise at least, if not 5, maybe 6 days of those days. And I would say that I was surprised, because I felt just like what I was saying, I felt weak, I didn't feel like myself. But when we went to the gym, I felt like and I knew that my performance was going to be very weak and, you know, lousy, but quite surprised because it wasn't as bad as I thought. I mean, it's not as good as normal, as what I would normally do if I wasn't on keto, but it wasn't as bad as I was already expecting. So that was a bit surprising, and that was a good thing as well, because we were still able to exercise and do what we needed to do being on keto. Another good thing I can take away from the keto diet that we did was that I was able to again take myself out of my comfort zone, and tap into different dishes that are low in carbs that I probably wouldn't have bumped into prior to, you know, prior to doing keto. So now I'm able to, I guess, incorporate those dishes, recipes when I feel like, okay, we've had enough carbs yesterday, today let's just, you know, keep it a bit low in carbs. I'm able to know which recipes works for me or works for us, because I did try a few of them. And yeah, I'll put photos later on of the foods that we ate and the dishes and things like that, recipes. They're not my recipes, I just got them online, but you know, some of them are really good and some of them are like bleh, not so good, but they might be okay for you. So we all have different taste buds. So I want to talk about high carb food that we'd most likely eat on a regular, such as like rice, pasta, potatoes, like things like that. We were able to find, you know, like some good substitutes to pasta. And then what else was it? Oh yeah, so for pasta, instead of using regular pasta, which is obviously high in carbs and is a definite no-no to being in a keto diet, we found, and I've never tried this before, I don't think, we tried zucchini pasta, which is just basically made out of zucchini, and it's like, you know, like a thin, kind of like a fettuccine style pasta, but made out of zucchini, and it's very low in carbs, and you're also getting, you know, a serving of vegetables. That is a really good substitute to pasta. So everything else was still the same, like the sauce, I just bought sauce, you know, put onions, or you'd normally put herbs and things like that, and then cheese as well, because again, you're able to eat as much cheese as you like being on keto, well, you know, in a good portion anyway. Mixing that with zucchini as pasta, it tasted really good. I didn't mind that at all, honestly. I thought I was still eating pasta, even though I wasn't, because of the texture of it. So the texture of it kind of fools my mind into thinking I'm eating pasta. Cauliflower as rice, I didn't really like that. The texture of it was just not ricey, you know, and I love my white rice, but it just wasn't the right substitute for white rice. But what you can do, I've realized, is that if you use it as a substitute for potatoes, so you boil it and like mash it, it has, well, very close to the texture of potatoes, I guess, when you know, mash potatoes, when you do mashed potatoes. So I think that will work for mashed potatoes. Also, we tried cauliflower as a pizza base, which was bought from the store. That wasn't too bad as well. That felt like we were having pizza, which is good. Again, those kind of foods you can't really have, like regular pizza, you can't really have them when you're on keto. There's so much food that you can have. Okay, the benefits for us with going in keto, I can't really think of any, but no, we did, you know what, we did lose weight, and a lot, I reckon it was a huge amount, but the weight that we lost was more fluid than anything, because I was peeing a lot. Like, it was, you know, normally I would pee and it'll just be like droplets, you know, little drops. But when I was on keto, or when I think I was on keto anyway, like ketosis, whenever I would go to urinate, it was like a waterfall basically. So I feel like the weight that we lost was mostly fluid, which is pretty much the case with keto. You lose a lot of fluid in the first, I guess, week or so. So I lost about 1.6 kilos all up. You will see that as well. I did the weigh-in at the start and then the weigh-in 7 days later. So I lost 1.6 kilos, and then as soon as I came back and started eating carbs again, 1 or 2 days later, I pretty much gained that 1 kilo. And so really I probably lost like half a kilo in a week, which is still pretty good considering my height and my body weight. So still a pretty good, you know, decent weight loss. My partner did lose, I think he lost 2.7, and really maybe 1.7 of it was fluid, and then I think he lost 1 kilo of weight, hopefully body fat, in that 7 days. So yeah, we did lose some weight. Another thing was that I was saying before, we've been training since the start of this year, so we've been training for a whole month but not eating very good, and our body was not really transforming at all. It's a very, very slow transition in terms of like muscle growth and things like that. There was hardly any, and we were exercising again. We were exercising nearly every single day, if not every second day, and we didn't see any results, you know what I mean? And when we did the keto in just 7 days, our body felt really tight, as if we were, you know, like as if we've been exercising for like 3 months at least. And it's because obviously, you know, the drastic change that we made in that 7 days, and you know, our body, we really did see our body transform, and like felt, for us, I don't know if you could see it in photos, but so I guess if you're comparing it with like a whole month of training and not really eating well to like 7 days of eating very well and training at the same time, you know, that 1 month really cannot compare to how we felt and how we think we looked after the 7 days. Okay, so what do I think of keto? I think for us, we did it more, I guess, as a challenge. We wanted to challenge ourselves and to really see whether if we can come through it. You know, it was only 7 days. And I think that it was hard in the beginning, and then it did get easier in terms of knowing what to eat, what not to eat, and things like that. But yeah, it was more of a challenge, and I think that's why we came through it. We knew that there was going to be an end date, and we knew it was only going to be 7 days, so we're like, okay, we don't need that extra sugar, okay, we don't need to eat a lot of bananas, or etc, etc. But as a lifestyle change, I don't think it would work for us, just because yeah, it was really hard, like going out. Like obviously in that 7 days we didn't go out a lot, but you know, we went out once, and we obviously have to think about what we're going to eat. And so if this was going to be a lifestyle change, or like a longer period of diet for you, then you're gonna have to think about when you go out or when you go to people's houses. You know, I didn't want to be the difficult person that didn't want to eat what's in front of them, or the fussy person. So it does get difficult in that sense, because obviously it's not that we're allergic to carbs or anything like that. We're just doing it for the purpose of the keto diet, I guess, and hopefully reap the benefits from it. But yeah, it was hard when it comes to those kind of things, going out, going to people's houses, you know, when you're visiting your parents and things like that. And you know, you're obviously going to be fed and you can't really choose what's in front of you. But also, I think in all seriousness, I think a good diet focuses more on inclusivity rather than exclusivity. You know, with keto diet, obviously it's taking a lot of the foods that you love, or that I love anyway, the foods that I love to eat, whether it be like nutritious food or not. Well, obviously the good thing is that it's keeping me away from the bad foods. That's great. But then there's also foods that I love that are nutritious, and like honey, which also has a lot of health benefits, high in sugar definitely. And so, you know, we couldn't have honey as well. There's just like an abundance of food that I love that I couldn't eat, okay? You know, apart from the regular like pasta, rice, potatoes, you know, the starchy food that obviously I love and a lot of people love. That's the reason why I don't think, for me and for us, I don't think that it's going to be a lifestyle change. But I will incorporate, again, like what I've learned from being in keto and not having to always eat carbs. It really did make me, like, made me realize how much carbs we were intaking every single day. Like from morning, sometimes I would have 2 to 3 pieces of bread, and then on top of that I would probably put some Nutella, and then maybe lunch I might still have a sandwich. So I'm just having so much carbs that my body obviously don't need, I don't think anyway. I'm not an athlete, so I don't need to be having that much energy inside of me. I do train or exercise, to try to on a daily. And you know, I think eating a balance of nutritious diet, including carbs, you know, not cutting carbs, not cutting good fats, and not cutting, I guess, good sugar from natural sources like fruits and vegetables that are high in sugar, not cutting those type of foods, is the right way to go for me, for us. So I'll put the first photo and the first weighing that we did, and so you could see whether if there was any changes throughout that 7 days. And I know I didn't weigh myself every single day because we broke our scale. Our scale broke, so we had to buy another scale. So I think I didn't weigh myself on the second or third day, or for a few days. But anyway, on the first day and the last day of it, you will see us getting on the scale and seeing if we lost any weight. So here it is. Hopefully you've enjoyed my talk, and hopefully I'll see you on my next one. Bye.